Soccer or football? Let's begin. A one word, six letters, and it has started more online wars than religion and politics combined. Say it in London, and you might get shouted out of the pub. Say the other version in Texas, and people will just stare you blankly. So, which one is actually correct? Soccer or football? Here was the twist nobody sees coming. The answer is going to make one entire country very, very uncomfortable because the word everyone loves to hate isn't American at all. It's British. Born, raised, and beloved in England before England ever tried to disown it. Welcome to the linguistic battlefield of the world's most popular sport. Depending on where you live, these two words describe completely different games. In America, football means an oval ball born crunching tackles. Soccer means a round ball and quick feet. In UK, it's flipped. Football is the round ball game, and American football is just an import with shoulder pads. But here's the part that's about to ruin 1,000 internet arguments. Grab a seat because we are about to trace exactly how one sport ended up with wearing two names and why the correct one depends entirely on where you are standing. Rewind to mid-80s Britain. Back then, football wasn't one sport with one rule book. It was an entire category of chaotic, muddy games played on foot rather than on horseback, which is likely where the names comes from in the first place. Every school club had its own version. Some let you carry the ball, some didn't. Nobody agreed on anything. Then in 1863, a group of London clubs finally sat down and said enough. They formed the Football Association, the FA, and standardized one version of the game to tell it apart from the carrying and tackling version developing at rugby school. They gave it a formal name, Association Football. Here's the way it gets genuinely funny. In the 1880s, Oxford students had a very specific, very posh habit. They shortened everything, then slapped an ER on the end, just because it sounded clever. Rugby football became rugged, simple enough. But the Association Football posed a challenge, so they grabbed the middle of the word. Assoc became Assocker. Assocker got trimmed down to soccer. That's it. That's the whole origin story. A slang nickname invented by posh Victorian university students showing off. For nearly 100 years afterward, soccer was a completely normal, widely used British word. It wasn't an American import. It hitched a ride to America. It didn't start there. When the sport crossed the Atlantic in the late 80s, it landed in a country that already had a football of its own, a rugby and association hybrid that would eventually evolve into the gridiron game Americans know today. By the early 90s, football was already spoken for in America. If the round ball game had tried to claim the same word, every newspaper headline in the country would have ended a disclaimer. So Americans borrowed the British nickname to solve the problem cleanly. Soccer gave the round ball game its own identity, no confusion required. The distinction became so official that the sports governing body in the US eventually built the word right into its name. Now here is the twist that's trying to wreck the football-only crowd's whole worldview. Britain didn't quietly retire the word soccer the moment it crossed the ocean. Britain kept using it for decades happily. When England lifted the World Cup in 1966, British newspapers ran headlines with the word soccer in them. The winning manager used the word in his own autobiography. British television gave it a prime real estate too, with shows like Soccer AM running from 1994 all the way to 2023, right alongside Soccer Saturday. The turn didn't come until the 1970s and 80s as American culture grew louder on the world stage. Suddenly, a word that had always sounded British started to sound American instead, and the Britain quietly began punching it out to protect what felt like its own game. Most fans today have no idea their own great grandparents' university slang is the very word they now consider a foreign invasion. But don't let the comment section fool you. This was never just a US versus UK fight. There's a pattern and it plays out the exact same way almost everywhere. And any country that already had its own dominant sport called football reached for soccer instead, purely to avoid chaos. Canada has Canadian football, so it's soccer. Australia has Aussie rules and rugby leagues, so it's soccer. Ireland has Gaelic football, so it's soccer. South Africa runs rugby courts alongside it, so again, soccer. And the naming gets even more colorful outside the English-speaking world. Japan calls it saka, borrowed straight from soccer. Italy calls it calcio. In the Philippines, you might hear football up north and soccer down south. Interestingly, the pendulum has started swinging back. Over the last 20 years, several federations that used soccer for decades have rebranded towards football instead. Australia's national body dropped soccer from its name in 2005. Canada's federation shifted its public rebranding in 2007. New Zealand followed in 2013. The reasoning is mostly political and global. Aligning with football signals alignment with FIFA and the international game. Even in the US, where soccer remains the everyday word, the debate still occasionally surfaces in pop culture, with public figures half-jokingly floating in the ideas that American football should rename itself so soccer could finally reclaim the word. So, does any of this actually matter? Whether you say soccer, football, ballon beat, everyone watching is looking at exactly the same game, a sport that reaches roughly 4 billion people with a World Cup audience that regularly beats even the Olympics. It is one shared obsession wearing different names in different accents. Saying soccer doesn't make you clueless, it may just mean your country's sporting history is a little more complicated than everyone else. So next time someone in the comments insists there is only one correct word, you will know the real story. Soccer is as British as a cup of tea. Football is a category, not a single game, and it always has been. Call it whatever you want, just enjoy the game. It's beautiful either way. And don't forget to subscribe for more interesting facts like this.